Hello YouTube, I'm Dr. Tactical, and today we are going to take a look at a rare bird. This is a gun that is very hard to come by right now, and I was lucky enough to get my hands on a specimen. This gun's been in the works for a long time. Those of you who are old enough to remember, back in the mid-70s, there was a music group called the Sex Pistols. And those of you who are not old enough to remember that, well, you're better at Googling than those of us that are, so look it up. They're a punk rock band that they're in England, and they started in the mid-70s. And what we didn't know back then, but now we sort of do, turns out that really was more than just a band. There was a top secret project going on. And really the results of that project were not released until 2019. I think they were kind of leaked at that point. And then they became more public at 2020 SHOT Show. And then what? COVID, that's what. And of course, everything sort of became quiet after a while, and there was a lot of anticipation for this secret project. But the project is out, and the newest version of it came out this year. So the question is, what happens when you cross a CZ P75 style gun, like this Shadow 2 Compact, and a 2011 or 1911 style gun, like this like this Staccato CS? Well, when you put them together, what do you get? You get the Wesson DWX Compact OR version that we have here that became available in 2024. And today we're going to take a deep dive into this. So I'm Dr. Tactical, and the doctor will see you now. Welcome back to the channel. And those of you who are new to the channel, welcome to the channel. I hope you like what you see, and if you do, please consider hitting that like button. Also, by all means, I would greatly appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. I really value my subscribers. And if you want to see more content like this, by all means, hit the notification bell, and you will be notified as more content is released. All right, so today we are going to take a look at kind of a rare gun to get a hold of. That is the Wesson Firearms DWX Compact OR. The OR stands for Optics Ready. So this gun has had an interesting history. The gun was announced in 2019 unofficially. So, well, let's just say it was leaked. 2020, as I understand it, it was released at SHOT Show, and then came COVID. And things became scarce and hard to get. And it wasn't until 2022 that the DWX Compact was actually released. And that's how it was released, the DWX Compact, not the OR version. And surprisingly, it didn't meet the response that people were expecting. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that it didn't have the OR. So this is my theory. I think that before 2019, while the gun was being, basically formulated, or at the point where they were comfortable enough to leak it, at that point, I don't think that optics were as ubiquitous in carry guns. And that's the point of this gun. This is a concealed carry gun. That's the primary purpose of this gun, is to carry it. And when it comes to optics or electronics or things like that in general, people are slow to work that into their carry rotation. And the reason is that reliability and success is everything with that. When it comes to competition or range shooting, people are more than comfortable putting optics on. And I think there was a sort of a leap from 2019 to 2022, where you started to see more and more optics work their way into the carry rotation of individuals. And they kind of missed out on that because of the dead time from COVID. So when it was released, it wasn't as successful as expected. It also didn't have a rail, an accessory rail on it, which that's sort of still controversial. I know a lot of people love their lights, but also a lot of people like their sleekness. So the OR that I'm going to show you today, which, as I understand it, the DWX Compact OR hadn't been released until just recently, which is 2024. And this is optic ready, hence the OR. It has a cutout in the slide, but it does not, the gun we're going to look at does not have an accessory rail on it. So there. All right, so as I teased at the beginning, this gun is a combination of a 1911/2011 gun and a CZ 75 style gun. Now, one of the first questions people have on a carry gun is, how hard is it going to be to get holsters for this gun? Well, I was curious too, so I'm wearing my Falco, that's Falco with an F, shoulder rig here, which is set up for my CZ Shadow 2 Compact, which, as many of you know, is sort of a CZ 75 style gun. And I happen to love this holster. And it turns out that it works perfectly for the Dan Wesson Compact, the DWX Compact OR. And just to show you, I'm going to sort of exaggerate this so you can see, but this holster carries the gun vertically, which is one of the things I love about it, because it's much safer. I'm not flagging people behind. It's not falling out if I bend forward. But once I take the safety snap here off, it rotates. And now I've got a really nice draw. So all guns and magazines have been unloaded. So they are safety checked. You sitting at home in front of your phone, iPad, or computer monitor are perfectly safe. There's no chance of you being shot. And if they were fully loaded, there would be no chance of you getting shot either. But I read the comments, and I know there's people that are genuinely concerned out there. So fear not, very safe. All right. So let's take a look at this, and I'm going to sort of go through the gun and what I think of it. So I've had a chance to play with it. I've not had a chance to fire it. As I said, it's on loan, and this gun is brand new. So first, let's take a look at the unboxing. So if I haven't already done so in this video, I want to thank Neil at the Gun Tree Club of Maryland for hooking me up with this Dan Wesson DWX Compact Optics Ready firearm. So as you can see, it comes in this beautiful box, and the box is actually quite valuable because clearly it is signed by Dan Wesson himself. And let's take a look at what is in the box. Oh, on the side, you can see Dan Wesson has been acquired by CZ USA. So we've got our CZ badge there. And this is the DWX Compact 9mm 10-round magazine optic ready. This is a 10-round because I live in the wonderful state of Maryland. Outside of Maryland, you can get regular capacity magazines at 15 rounds. Okay, let's take a look and see what is in the box. I'm going to move the box out of the way. And in this box, we have a nice range case, which, by the way, has sort of become the standard for a lot of the high-end guns, and it's kind of nice. I like these. Unfortunately, I've never taken one to the range. Not unfortunately, I just don't, I mean, it's just nice to have, I guess, but it takes up space. But this is nice. And again, signed by Dan Wesson himself, and then they must have gone over the signature with stitching. Pretty cool. All right, let's see what's in the actual case itself. As it should be, wrapped in butcher paper, we have the gun, which we'll get to in a moment. We have two magazines, two 10-round magazines, sorry. One here, and there's one in the actual gun itself. We'll get to that. In the paperwork. Now, I should tell you, this gun is a one-of-a-kind, actually. This is a very valuable gun. You may not want to tell Neil. I don't think he realized it. I know he didn't realize it when he gave it to me to use, because this is a DoctorTactical special one-of-a-kind, where in the packaging, you will receive, whoever buys this particular model, which is going to be back for sale at the Gun Tree Club of Maryland, a DoctorTactical sticker, a DoctorTactical patch, and, brace yourself, a DoctorTactical luggage thing, tag. Anyway, now right now, because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, God, everybody's going to be getting these things because, this is going to be highly popular. And you're right, you're right. But right now, believe it or not, these are kind of scarce. So you put this on your luggage, when it comes out of that carousel, you'll know it's yours. And other people will be envious. And blah, blah, there's a DWX sticker too. There's a lock, and there is a takedown tool here to help you with the takedown of the pistol. And then also there are instructions. So let's put all this back in. Let's get to the gun itself for a sec. Let me close that up. All right. So in the butcher paper, in the plastic, we've got the actual Dan Wesson or DWX Compact itself. So let's talk about what makes this gun, what it borrows from the 1911, 2000 or 2011 heritage, and what it borrows from the CZ 75. So for starters, the trigger. The trigger is a 1911 trigger. It's skeletonized, and it is sweet. One of the things that it has on it that I really love is, I'm just starting right out with the trigger because by far I think that's the start of the show. Well, let's look at the trigger first, and I'll get into the detail. I'm going to take the magazine out. Okay, so let's look at this. There we go. Very little take up. I'm pretty much against the wall. Breaks. Let's look at that again. Breaks. Now, reset. Very, very positive, and I'll explain that in a minute. Perfect. So it's, when I say positive, it's not just the audible click that lets me know and the feeling that I get, but also this trigger is springed forward. That's not always the case. Some triggers lag and they're sprung, I guess. But when you pull there are some guns that even I, who am not the best of competition shooters, when I have outrun a gun where I've gone on the reset and the trigger has to sort of catch up to my finger. That is not the case with this. This trigger is pushing me forward to that reset point, and it's really nice. Now, one of the things I also really like about this gun, or about this trigger, is the serrations on the front of it. These serrations, I know it's really hard to see, but I'll put it up so you can. They're very aggressive. I mean, you can't, if you push with any pressure at all, you can't just slide your finger across it. It stays where you put it. It's purposeful, and that is really nice. Now, again, I haven't shot this gun, so is there a chance that could become annoying with the the feel of it, with the gun reciprocation and the movement? Possibly, but I think I'd really like it, to tell you the truth. I know that I like when there's no sliding around on this trigger. You put your finger on, it's where you place it, and you really can meaningfully move the trigger. So the trigger is an absolute win. It is 100% DoctorTactical approved. Okay, the becomes a CZ75 as we start looking at it more, because there is no beaver tail or grip safety back here. Now, some people, there's mixed feelings on this because it is a single action only gun, meaning you're going to probably be carrying it either cocked and locked or with the hammer down. Because carrying this thing, carrying it cocked and locked, that means the safety is let me rephrase that, the one-sided safety. This is not an ambidextrous safety. This is a left-sided, right-handed safety only. It is very positive. You cannot, it would be very hard to accidentally activate this safety in either direction, but especially putting it on to safety. It comes off easier than it goes on. So the chances of you accidentally turning the safety on and having a problem is pretty small. It looks like it is reversible. I haven't seen anything that actually says it's reversible, but when I look at it, I see space that sort of mimics where the safety is set up here. So I think you probably could get a one for the other side. But the way it comes, it is strictly right-handed. And I understand what they're doing. They're trying to keep the gun sleek, but just something to keep in mind when it comes to the safety. So the grips are from a company called Hennig, as is the rear sight, which we'll talk about in a moment, and the base plate on the magazine. So the grips have what's called, I think, a frag pattern, which I like. I really like them. I was surprised because they look flat and they don't look grippy. They are grippy, they are comfortable, and they're not annoying. Like if you're carrying these against your body, they're not going to tear you up. They're not cheese graters, but they do give you nice purchase. Again, I haven't found it. I'm just going off of how it feels, in the hand right now. Okay, coming back up to the top of the gun, the front sight is an Ameriglow sight, and the Ameriglow sight has a fluorescent ring with a tritium dot in the middle. The rear sight, as I mentioned, is the Hennig. This is their battle hook design. So it actually will, catch a belt or a table or something should you hurt one hand and have to do this one-handed. You can, these are, I think they're steel. I'm not sure. They could be aluminum, but I think they're steel. You could rack. It's definitely strong enough that you could rack with that. It is a blacked out U-notch with serrations. They're big on serrations with this gun, as far as preventing light reflection. So you've got that on the back. You've got that running along the top also. So if you're holding this gun out in the sun, the chances, what happens is the light will be, it'll be based on the serration, so it doesn't reflect back into your face. Same thing with the rear sight, as I said. The barrel. This is a really nice barrel. This is a reverse beveled 4-inch barrel. It is a linkless barrel, so not very 1911-y. It is bushingless, so a little easier for takedown. It has a steel guide rod. The coating on this gun is DLC, diamond-like coating, which is really a nice, durable coating. I have never really had a problem with any guns that have that coating on it. The trigger we talked about. Let's see, what else? The magazines. So this gun takes the CZ 75 magazine, which is great for me because I have a ton of them because I have the CZ Shadow 2 Orange as well as the CZ Shadow 2 Compact. And that's kind of what I think they were going for with this. A competition gun like their DWX, and then a carry gun which has the same manual of arms, which would be the DWX Compact OR. Where they kind of deviated though, and not, I don't think in a good way, is it didn't keep the same magazines. So it's kind of nice having a larger magazine from the larger body that you can put in that holds more rounds into your compact version. It doesn't really matter because you can easily get CZ 75 magazines, and they have them with, better capacity. So it's not really a big deal. But I know that people who have the DWX wanted to get this and have everything just sort of flow, but that's not how it's designed. This is designed for the CZ 75 magazine, and it won't take the magazine that goes into the larger DWX, the competition version. Okay. Can I give this gun a official DoctorTactical approved status? No. And here's why. I haven't shot it. That's not a strike against the gun, obviously. It's just I really need to have more information before this gun gets the designation of the prestigious DoctorTactical approval. But I hope to fire one soon, and I will make public my feelings on it, because I know you're all sitting by your computers waiting to hear. So there is one thing I just want to sort of put to bed. It's a myth. I guess you can call it a myth. It may just be, it's more popular to call it misinformation. I've seen this on YouTube, and I've seen it in print, and it could be that I'm not doing it correctly or I don't understand the way they're doing it. But what their claim was is if you take a locked open DWX Compact, which I guess would also follow over to the DWX Compact OR, and you put a magazine that's loaded, and we're going to put a dummy round. This is a snap cap into an empty magazine. So this is completely safe. If you put it in with force, not a lot of force, you don't want to obviously do any damage, but if you put it in with purpose, the magazine lock should release and the gun should go into battery. And I've tried this many times, and that is just not the case. And I'm not comfortable pushing any harder than that because this gun doesn't belong to me. It's going to belong to someone else, and I don't want to. I want to keep it in great shape. But I do put it in with purpose, as it should be. And there's no hint of that, and there's no reason when I look at the mechanism inside that even would work. But anyway, if you've seen that and you expect that to be the case, because that is kind of a cool feature. When I heard it, I was like, "Oh, that's cool! You can put your loaded mag in, and you're good to go." That is not the case. You still need to either rack or hit your slide release. Okay, so that's it for now. I'm Dr. Tactical. Thank you for watching. Dr. Tactical, out.